Hey all, Bree from the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I have got a gift for you this holiday season. If you love the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I mean love the No Guilt Mom podcast, then tell us about it. Leave us a review, and you can be entered to win a No Guilt Mom gift card. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and then simply go to noguiltmom.com/review to enter our giveaway for a free No Guilt Mom gift card, simply for telling us what you think about the podcast. It is amazing. But don't delay. Get right on this, as we're going to be giving away that No Guilt Mom gift card on December 21st. So get right on over and visit noguiltmom.com/review.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, Joanne Crone, joined here by we are twinning today, my twinning co-host, Bree Tucker.
Why, hello, everybody. How are you?
I was looking at her top. I have a green khaki jacket on and a black dress, and I'm like, oh, we're not twinning. But guess what? Bree has the green khaki, the same color
the
on.
Exact same color,
and then
a black top. Like,
so
honestly, people,
colors.
If
I
people
don't know how
could
this
see
happens.
This happens a lot.
It does. It's like sharing a brain. Like, you're almost, you're my work wife. I'm pretty
sure we are.
Because I do this with my husband too, where like we dress the same and we look at each other. We're like, and people have actually commented. They're like, "Did you guys plan that?" We're like, "No, we didn't."
Okay, I have to giggle because the same thing happens with Miguel and I.
Yeah.
Like, I'll look at him and I'll be like, "Do you notice that you're wearing, a kind of fitted top with jeans and your black and white Vans?" And so am I.
So yeah,
exactly.
It gets a little creepy. But you know who's not creepy?
Who's not creepy?
Zibby Owens.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about a segue. Bam, nailing it today. Not really. But I was so excited to talk with Zibby because I follow her on Instagram. She is involved in so much stuff in the book world, and I am just completely fascinated and in awe of everything.
I know. Zibby was so much fun. And honestly, as we were talking, I was thinking to myself in my head, okay, this is Joanne's New York best friend. Like, if Joanne lived in New York, they would be besties because they have so many similarities.
Well, I mentioned something to Zibby after. I'm like, I am a little stalkery, Zibby. I am so sorry. Yeah, it's amazing the things she's done. So you're going to hear about that in the episode. And if you haven't heard of Zibby, Zibby Owens is an author and the creator and host of the award-winning podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. She was named New York City's most powerful book influencer by New York Magazine's Vulture, conducts warm, inquisitive conversations with authors, making her daily show a top literary podcast as selected by Oprah.com in 2019 and 2020. Zibby is also the co-founder and CEO of Zibby Books, a publishing home for fiction and memoir. She's also the CEO of Moms Don't Have Time To, a media company with multiple podcasts, publications, communities, the Zibby Awards, and 2 anthologies, Moms Don't Have Time To, a Quarantine Anthology, and what we were talking with her today, Moms Don't Have Time to Have Kids, a Timeless Anthology.
Okay, do you need to get some oxygen now? Because I mean, my gosh.
She's amazing.
It was phenomenal.
So we hope you enjoy our interview with Zibby. This is a really busy time of year, Bree. Like, my head swims every time we hit December.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, between the parties and the planning, and you know what really gets me are the gifts. Trying to plan the gifts. And then, I have my holiday party coming up, the sweater thing.
It's a lot to keep track of. Like, I have a hard time keeping track of gifts as well. And Cozy has something to help you out, and it's totally free. We found some holiday planning printables on their site.
I know. I was so excited. And you know what? It's not even just like one. They have 5 different types of planners.
Yep.
It's amazing.
And we love Cozy over here at No Guilt Mom. It's the #1 organizing app for families, and it's used to juggle school schedules, practices, meetings, doctor's appointments, even workouts and date nights. It helps keep our lives completely organized, and it is free to download.
And you know what else it's helping us with? Like we just said, party planning and gifts right now, and I'm excited. So one of those planners on there is about gifts, and it's a tracker to keep track of the gifts that you receive. And then who's it from, what it is, and did you send them a thank you card, which is great and phenomenal. And my mom would love for me to use it that way.
Yes.
But Bree has a plan.
Okay, what's your plan?
I'm going to be sneaky. I'm going to print those off tonight
and I'm giving them to every family member, and I'm going to say, okay, now you need to list on here all the people you have to buy gifts for.
It's a perfect way to delegate.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm that whole, like, we did that episode about how gift giving is no longer my job. I am giving it to the masses.
Yes. And Cozy can help you do that. It
Yes.
is the #1 organizing app in the App Store, and it is free. Just download Cozy from the App Store. That's COZI to get the free app today. So that Elf on the Shelf, Brie.
Oh, I am so happy my kids are done with Elf on the Shelf.
Well, Elf on the Shelf, it takes a lot of like assistance to help the elves out sometimes. You know,
my gosh, yes.
As parents, the planning involved, because our elves, like, they have their ideas on their own and they do get into a little mischief on their own, but it really takes us welcoming them into our home.
Oh, well, and then
to
also
create
the
that mischief.
antics.
Yes.
And trying to come up with creative stuff for that stinking elf.
Wait. The elf creates it himself, Brie. We are just the purveyors of it. Bree is right here rolling her eyes.
I am. If you guys, can you guys feel the eye rolling?
I have a believer. The elf is big in my house. I cannot.
That's why I said mine are in high school now.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yes. But if you're looking for help for your elf, maybe your elf has gotten a little boring, and
or maybe you just need your elf to be a little bit more. Bring some more positivity into the house,
positivity.
Right?
We have something for you. It is our sibling adventure missions. You can print out one each day to help your elf out, something that your elf can deliver to your kids and encourages positivity and working together and having fun as siblings.
14 of them, guys. We're talking about half of the month of December done for you, and your kids get along. How amazing is that?
Find a link to those sibling adventure missions in our show notes. And now on with the show.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too. Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast.
Welcome, Zibby, to the podcast. Like, as we were saying before, we're so excited to have you here. I've been following you on Instagram for a while and just all of the great stuff you have going on. So welcome.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm a huge reader and I really enjoy your podcast. Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. I actually listened to the Sutton Foster one driving recently because I was such a Sutton Foster fan.
What did you think about that? I haven't really talked to anyone about that episode.
I did not know all the things that were going on in her life because really I just knew her from younger. I knew she was a Broadway star, but I didn't know that relationship she had with her mom. And I want to read her book now. I thought it was just a crafting book, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this book is really juicy. I need to get a copy of this.
Yeah, it was a full-on memoir. Yeah. Anyway, I found it to be interesting. The way she talked about her life and her career and all of it, and even just like her mannerisms. I don't know. Sometimes you just don't know what to expect when people are not acting.
Yeah. Her mannerisms did surprise me a little bit. Like she looks very polished and put together, but she seemed a lot more real on your podcast interview with her. Like I could actually have a conversation and not be totally intimidated by the greatness that is Sutton Foster.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening.
Oh yeah. So for those of our audience who don't know you, can you give us kind of a rundown of who you are and what you do?
Sure. I am sort of this accidental podcast person. I am a mom of 4 kids. I host the award-winning podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books, and also another award-winning podcast called Sex Talk with Zibby and Tracy, which I spend far less time on and is doing like really well. I have written 2 anthologies or edited 2 anthologies, Moms Don't Have Time to, a Quarantine Anthology from the pandemic times, and then just came out, Moms Don't Have Time to Have Kids. I have a children's book coming out soon called Princess Charming. And I have a memoir called Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature coming out on July 1st. It's the first time I've said my pub date out loud. So there you go. I just got it today.
That's exciting.
I know. I'm so excited. And what else can I tell you about me? I also started a publishing company called Zibby Books. in September, and I'm publishing, along with my co-founder Lee Newman and our fantastic team, 12 books a year of fiction and memoir. And our first book will come out in January 2023. So we are acquiring manuscripts now. I have a Medium publication called Moms Don't Have Time to Write, and we have lots of assorted Instagram, Facebook, social media accounts, including Moms Don't Have Time to Grieve, which is a column on Moms Don't Have Time to Write, and lots more fun stuff. We also just started hashtag 22 and 22, which is our campaign to encourage people to visit bookstores 22 times in the year 2022. And I'm giving like all these prizes and little special badges and bookmarks and Facebook group around it. And I don't know, I'm trying to make it this whole fun thing. And so I have amazing partners. I think I have about 30 partners at this point, from Barnes and Noble to Dance Body to all, just all types of amazing partners, Poets and Writers magazine.
I checked out that site and I was like, I want to sign up. I want to get prizes just
That's what I was going to say. Like, you know what? You think about it all summer long, because that's typically when they have the summer reading programs for our kids, right? They have all these fun things they get to do and prizes. And when I'm like, where's that for me? I need the incentive, and I like that. I want to get the free burritos and the free books that you guys get. So thank you. Thank you for doing this. You're making me excited for 2022.
Hey, all, Bree here, and I wanted to share one of my favorite gifts to give during the holiday season, a Storyworth book. It is the most amazing gift ever. Storyworth is an online service that lets you create a special and unique gift of someone's story. I've given Storyworth books to both of my parents, and it has been their favorite gift, hands down. And did I mention it is so easy? Storyworth emailed my parents questions every week that I handpicked from their massive list of questions that they have. All my parents had to do was open their email and answer them. That easy. I asked my dad questions like, did you have any rules that you set for yourself as a parent, which you immediately broke? And he did. I even asked both of my parents, are you more like your mom or your dad? And they shared a lot of really amazing qualities that I didn't know about my grandparents at the time. Then at the end of the year, Storyworth compiles all of their answers, puts them into this gorgeous book that covers everything. My parents love showing us their books, and I personally love getting a chance to read them. With Storyworth, I am giving those I love a thoughtful and personal gift from the heart that preserves their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/NGM and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/NGM to save $10 on your first purchase.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. It is so hard to raise kids who know how to manage money. Bree, right now, my kids are all about earning money for presents. My daughter wants to get presents for all of her friends, and my son is doing a Secret Santa with his friends.
Oh, I hear you. And if you're looking to raise kids that are financially responsible, we have got a lifesaver recommendation for you that you need to check out. It is Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families that gives kids and teens an easy and fun way to gain financial literacy, all while giving parents peace of mind.
You can send instant money transfers, automate allowance, and even keep an eye on kids' spending with real-time notifications. Meanwhile, your kids can begin their journey towards financial autonomy by learning how to save, invest, and spend wisely.
So sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/NGM.
That's greenlight.com/NGM to try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/NGM.
My one friend wrote back, actually not friend, somebody I didn't even know, was like, this is so much better than a weight loss challenge.
Yes, yes, yes.
I used to host the podcast Moms Don't Have Time to Lose Weight, which is still up. You can listen to all those episodes, but I decided to stop that because I am literally not really focused on losing weight right now. So I just had to like put a pin on that one for now.
But you know what? That's the great thing about podcasting, I think, is that it can be current and where you're at,
Mm-hmm.
and then, like you said, it's there. If anybody else needs it, they can go to it, but you can move on and grow. And man, Zibby, do you grow?
Yeah.
Like I just, woo, inspiring. I can see the whole, like, moms don't have time to.
I love it. I see a bit of, I'm a big overachiever as well. And just moving into your book right now, and I'm kind of jumping ahead ahead here, but in one of your essays, in All the Books I Never Sold, like one thing in particular stood out that you said, and it was, and I'm like, iPad, let me in. But you said, deep down, despite my producing these anthologies, hosting 2 podcasts, editing an online magazine, and hosting a virtual book club, I still feel like a failure. And I was like, I get it. I totally get it. Because you just listed off this big range of accomplishments. And now, since writing that essay, do you still feel that way?
Well, right after I published, or right after I the manuscript was finalized, I actually sold that memoir, which is the one that's coming out this summer. So I felt enormously relieved. I mean, that has been my goal, right? All these other things have happened and have been amazing and took off in ways that are probably far exceed what it's going to be like just to have this book out, right? That's just one book. I've ended up being able to read so many books and help a lot of authors and create communities. It's been a dream come true, seriously. Like, I'm so energized. I barely sleep. I just wake up and think of things to do and ideas, and I'm just in a zone or something. But that wasn't my goal. It's great. I'll take it. I love it. I'm so happy. But my goal was to sell this book that I've been rewriting since 2003. I started, I did one draft, and then I tried to sell that, and then I wrote a second up. Anyway, it's basically bits of everything. And what I didn't realize at the time is I couldn't write that book. The story hadn't gotten to a place where the natural ending hadn't happened yet. But I didn't know that at the time. So now I have it's basically a 20 years of my life sort of summed up from September 11th, 2001 to September 2021. And all the stuff that's happened as a result of one moment and where my life sort of veered off. And then with that, sort of everything, that all the books that have been with me along the way have been my, life rafts I've floated down the river of loss, so to speak. So that's why I felt like a failure, because I kept getting rejected and it was so embarrassing. And I was trying so hard. I tried to sell this book in many different forms, and I would then come back here, and every day, not that I ever begrudged an author their success, but I would get another rejection and then sit down at the desk and then email another author who was so excited about their book. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just never going to happen for me. But that's okay. That's okay. I have so much other stuff. I have this. I love my podcast. And so, yeah, it was discouraging. But, everyone kept saying, you only need one. And I was like, well, if I write the right book, there'll be a bidding war and it'll be this whole thing. And that's not what happened. And it was just one, but you know what? It was the best place ever. I'm so grateful. I love my editor and I feel very lucky, and we'll see what happens. But who knew all this great stuff would happen along the way.
So first, I love that you've shared your story about struggle and rejection and everything, because I think that those stories, we don't often see. We see the success. We see these great things happening for people, but we usually don't hear the backstories about what it took to get there. And I don't know, have you seen the Netflix documentary not documentary, but it's a movie starring Andrew Garfield, Tick, Tick, Boom?
No.
Okay. So I totally recommend it. Are you a musical theater fan?
Enough.
Okay. So it's about Jonathan Larson, who created Rent.
Okay.
And it's directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, but it follows Jonathan Larson as he's creating this musical we have never heard of before. It was called Superbia, never heard of it. And he was placing all of his bets on this one thing. And then at the end, obviously, if we haven't heard of it, it's not a spoiler. It doesn't happen for him, but it's that picking up the pieces and trying again and trying again and trying again until you get something that works.
It doesn't feel like it's going to work, though.
It doesn't feel like it's going to work ever. You totally get discouraged, but it's good to hear that from other people, because so many people give up when it doesn't work the first time.
That's true.
So let's talk about your book. First of all, I love the story about how you came up with the name for this book and talking with your daughter. Could you share that with us?
Yes. We were just sort of hanging out on the couch, and my kids are involved in literally every aspect of what I do and everything. That's part of why it's so easy to meld this in with my life, because, it's okay, I'm reading this book. I just picked up a book to show. This is what I'm doing. It's not I'm going to work on a thing in Excel or whatever. So anyway, they see it, they understand it. I share the stories. They love story now and everything. Anyway, so my older daughter, who is particularly excited about things and, is very into TikTok, and she's, 14 and a half, whatever. Anyway.
Our daughters too. We have similar age daughters.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, she was sitting on the couch next to me and on TikTok, and I didn't think she was listening, but of course they're always listening, right? Even when you think they're not. So I was chatting with my husband and his dad and his dad's wife, spent a lot of time with them, and talking about what the book should be called. My first book was Moms Don't Have Time to, a Quarantine Anthology. And one idea was like, should I include all the subtitles in the title? Moms Don't Have, because there are 5 things this book is based on. Moms Don't Have Time to sleep, get sick, see friends, write, and lose weight. Should all of that be in the title? Should it be something totally different? You know, I brainstorm all the time. And I was talking about all the things moms didn't have time to do. And finally, my daughter just said, moms don't even really have time to be moms. And I was like, oh, that's so genius. You're right. Moms don't have time to have kids. And then I thought that was so funny. And I was like, I hope people get it.
We do. Sadly, we do.
Yeah, doing all the things.
Some people who don't have kids are like, what?
Just wait. Just wait. Just wait.
It was like conversations I had with my sister before she had kids, and she never understood why I couldn't do things like at a certain time. And then she just had her son 2 years ago. And she's like, I get it. I get it now.
Yeah. Right. It's a struggle that really you don't fully get until you are like knee deep in it. I mean, you can be somewhat empathetic towards it, somewhat sympathetic, like, oh, I see it, but you don't really feel it all the way down in your bones and fully understand it until you have a kid. And you're like, okay, I take back all the things I said behind your back to myself in the middle of the night when I'm like, why can't my sister do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause she had 3 kids under 3 and it was impossible.
It was hard. Does your daughter with TikTok, does she hear songs from the 90s on the radio and is like, that's a TikTok song?
Yes, that has happened. I'm like, what? Yes, that's so funny.
The world existed before TikTok, my loves. It's
so funny. Yes.
I get so like she knows it makes me mad too, because I'm like, this is not a TikTok song.
Yes.
This is like, yeah.
It's like girls just want to have fun or something. Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
That's funny.
So this is your second anthology did you publish your last anthology during quarantine, correct?
The first one came out in February and this one came out in November.
So what inspired you to write a second anthology?
The first one was not supposed to be a book. So before COVID, I wanted to build this whole website with all these different categories of things moms didn't have time to do, with original essays by each author, a lot of authors from the podcast. And it would be this amazing original content. And I had these splashy design ideas and I could just like see it. So I got a few people like on my team to work on it. This author, Claire Gibson, and another author, Alyssa Altman. And we started commissioning essays with contracts and paying people and like making it a whole thing. And the way I even got those authors was just literally emailing everybody who had been on the podcast and saying, hey, I'm starting this thing. Like, what do you think? Does anyone want to do it? And anybody who said yes was basically in, pretty much. Anyway, during the pandemic, I decided I couldn't do that anymore. So each week I would upload a new essay or a couple of new essays each week. And after 4 months, something like that, I ran out of essays and I decided to stop the publication, which we called We Found Time. And I was like, I wonder how many we ended up with. And I took them all and put them in one Word document. And then I did a word count search and I was like, oh, it's a book. It's long enough to be a book. And I realized like I had all the contracts for all the essays. So I had the right to do it. So I did it. I called like one publisher I knew who said they could get things out quickly because I really wanted it to come out during the pandemic and have all the proceeds go to COVID vaccine research. And so it came out. So, and after I finalized everything and before it hit the shelves, so to speak, I was like, well, actually, now I'd like to try and do this on purpose. So I decided to pick 5 more topics that were different from the first 5 and picked a bunch of authors, some of who I had just spoken to, some of whom I thought had something thematic in line with the topics I had picked. I worked with Carolyn Murnick, the editor, on that and did it on purpose. And so that was really fun. So now I can check that off the list.
Created anthology on purpose. Check.
Yes, check. Who knew that was on the list to begin with, but I'll add it so I can cross it off.
Yeah, I love the anthology too, because like if you only have a little bit of time as a mom, you can just dig into a few essays and really get some good takeaways from it. One of our friends from the podcast, KJ Delantonia, I read hers, which is amazing. And we had just been to Spain. Her essay was all about her learning Spanish. And
oh my gosh.
And so like, I was like, oh, I didn't know this, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved yours as well. The click through my mind. I have such horrible health anxiety that I couldn't imagine what you must have been going through when you had that entire experience. My son is playing a game right now on his computer where he's a thief and the cops are after him. So I'm so excited about this new app, Give As We Grow, where instead of being the quote unquote bad guys, kids are practicing giving back.
That is so cool, Joanne. I really wish that there was something like this when my kids were younger that got them excited about giving back to others and helped them build a better understanding of what it really means to volunteer.
Give As We Grow is the first of its kind free educational mobile app for children ages 8 to 11 that teaches kids via fun, service-focused minigame quests to tap into their unique talents and interests to help others.
And did you know that studies show that there is a biological connection between generosity and happiness, and that volunteering improves people's physical and mental health? I mean, kids who volunteer typically do better in school and are less likely to engage in risky behaviors. And that is something that I think we all want for our kids.
Ready to spark a new movement in generosity? Find and download Give As We Grow for free in the App Store for Android and iOS. And for resources for the whole family, visit giveaswegrow.org. We're hitting that time of year where my brain gets so overloaded in December that I look for anything to make life easier. And I have to say, Brie, that Green Chef is one of those services.
Yes, Green Chef is there to take away the dreaded, oh my goodness, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? You can eat clean all holiday long with over 80 weekly meal options each week, featuring things like quick and easy, protein-packed, calorie-smart, or my personal favorite, the keto options.
And you don't have to lose track of healthy eating habits during the holidays because every Green Chef customer gets a free session with one of their registered dietitians who can walk you through how to make clean eating work for you, which is very cool.
And I have to say that I have been loving their recipes lately. They put things together I have never thought of. This week, we're trying the lemon basil caper pork with sauteed cauliflower, bell peppers, almonds, and feta cheese, my favorite. Their recipes make it so easy to support my wellness goals without skipping on flavor.
For Green Chef's best deal of the year, get $250 off with code NGM250 at greenchef.com/NGM250. That's greenchef.com/NGM250. And don't forget to use that code NGM250 to get $250 off.
Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
Yeah, it was so crazy. It was such a dark time for so many ways for me. Moving and loved ones. I mean, they're just like one of those dark times of life, which everybody goes through now and again. And so I never even ended up telling people. The essay was about how I was misdiagnosed with a brain tumor. And well, I have a tiny like cyst that presents as a tumor, but it's actually benign. And apparently it's been there my whole life, but I did not know that. And when they found it, they didn't see it on a previous scan that I had for headaches a couple years prior. So they thought I had this rapidly growing tumor and that it would have to come out. And so I got all these opinions from surgeons who were talking about the different ways to go in and where should they go. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then I finally got another opinion, like the 6th opinion. And I mean, far and wide, I was sending my scans, my reports and all that stuff from Texas and California, everywhere. And then I finally got this one last doctor who was like, you know what? I don't want to see the radiologist report from a couple years ago. I need to get those slides. Find me those slides. And so he got them and he made an appointment with me. And we just sat there while he literally was like, and then finally he was like, no, there it is. It's right there. I can see it from the last slide, which meant it hadn't grown. He's like, you probably had this your whole life. No worries.
That's crazy. Because you were dealing with all this memory loss too, like describing, like seeing friends, not being able to recognize who they were.
Yes. Which I've realized is a combination essentially of like not enough sleep and too much stress. And
that's what, right? That's like the amount of stress you were under with that. Oh my goodness.
They call it, I sort of take issue with this whole mom brain thing. I mean, you don't have a child and lose your brain. Like that's ridiculous. But I did feel a serious cognitive decline and I got worried about it. That's why I started doing all the testing. I now can feel it coming, the way you feel a cold coming on.
Yeah.
And I know that if I am not getting enough sleep and things are stressful or there's grief or there's this or that, it's going to happen again. And as soon as I start pronouncing garbage garage, which that means it's like my cognitive function has gone down a notch. Yeah. So the kids know I'm like, oh, I'm having one of those days where I can't find the words, but then I get a good night's sleep and I'm okay. So
do you find that's usually what you need, like in terms of self-care, when you find you're like you're declining cognitively, just a good night's sleep and you're kind of back at it? Or do you do anything else?
Pretty much. I really need it because I really do go a long time without enough sleep. I mean, I maybe got 4 hours last night, and I'm gonna need to, like, I'm up a lot in the 4s. So
Wow.
I definitely run till I can't run anymore. And it's okay because I have all this energy. So it's okay until it's not. So yeah.
And you do a lot. Like you have 4 podcast episodes a week, 5,
7
for just 7. Okay. So 7 podcast episodes, one thing, but then it's all with authors who've written books.
Yeah.
So like how do you fit all that in, like preparing for those interviews?
It takes so long.
That's why I'm giggling. To say you do a lot is an understatement.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's actually too much. It's too much than is humanly possible at this point. So I'm just doing my best. This has also been something I've learned this year since I started the publishing company, which should be its own full-time job, by the way. And instead I'm like fitting it in around the margins. But I'm going to be redoing my schedule, I hope, in the next 9 months. My podcast is booked all the way through June. So
That's amazing.
I believe it.
I have to change things up to make a day a week where it's just Zibby, but my brain kind of doesn't work that way. I don't know about you guys. Like, I'm like, I should streamline this type of thinking, but my brain works like it's all.
We're like that.
Yes.
We like to call it shiny objects syndrome or squirrel.
Yeah.
Like we have these really great ideas. And then 5 seconds later, we're like, okay, on to the next thing. Right. And then the idea of the streamlining, you're like, oh, I got to come back to that. I got to find the time to come back for that.
Yeah.
It's how it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's great. You never get bored. It's kind of how I feel about having so many kids. Like I kind of I obviously through whatever mistake happened in my brain circuitry, I do better when I like jump from thing to thing, right? If I didn't have the other kid upstairs for homework, I would be more focused on this tantruming kid downstairs, right? And so that's like too stressful. So I don't know, diversifying seems to help me. I like sort of being in many different buckets at once, and it makes everything somehow more manageable.
So you can't hyper focus on any one thing.
That's
right?
my tendency. It's like zoom.
Right.
I
notice that with myself too. Like I get really bad anxiety if I'm not busy enough. It used to happen to me as a teacher. Like I would be great throughout the school year and then summer hit and I'm like, oh my gosh, my kid has a fever. Obviously it's going to turn into something horrible. And I would hyper focus on that one thing
because you were used to being so busy with everything. Oh my goodness.
So busy.
I speak the anxiety language. I get it. I speak it fluently.
Yes. Yeah. It's also a gift. Like I've been learning to look at my anxiety more as a gift now because anxiety is also, and probably the same with you, makes you extremely driven and focused and aware of anything that may be falling through the cracks.
Yes. Yep.
So
a blessing and a curse.
It's a blessing and a curse. Definitely.
Funny. Until I did this podcast, I only had like 2 friends basically who had the same sort of anxiety and with accompanying sort of personality type. But now that I do the podcast, I meet people all the time who are so similar. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like, this isn't me. This is this piece of me. And it's very common. And I would never know that. Anyway, it's been a nice awakening.
Yeah. I love seeing like meeting other like high achievers and people with anxiety. And I'm noticing a lot in this field in particular, especially in writing and podcasting and female entrepreneurs.
Yes.
It's all kind of the same mindset.
Yes.
And that's good to see.
It is. It is
comforting.
It's like we all took a personality test a long time ago for the perfect job. And like there was no perfect job. And now podcast entrepreneur, like whatever even is that, turns out it draws this one personality type. So it's such a perfect fit. So then you just keep meeting more people like you. It's the greatest. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's so great.
We have our club.
Yeah, we have our club.
Well, Zibby, it has been so great talking to you.
too.
And I can't wait to hear and read all the stuff that you have coming out.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
Love talking with Zibby. And I was reading her Timeless Anthology, the Moms Don't Have Time to Have Kids, which first of all, I love the title. It's just so inspiring to like read stories from people who do not have it all together and are going through these challenges in their lives and how other moms are handling it.
It is nice to know we're not alone. We need that reminder. Even though we know it, we don't know it, I think, in our heart.
Yeah. And it's
so Zibby was awesome.
She is so awesome. Like I am like fangirling so much. Like it's hard to have really good commentary about somebody that you fangirl about because your mind is all clouded and you're like, I just think she's amazing. And so it's
So Zibby, we love you. We love you. And you guys have got to go out and get her book. We've got a link to it in the show notes below.
it is a great read.
Yeah.
So until next time, remember the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks so much for stopping by. Are you looking for something to listen to with your whole family? Then check out 6 Minutes, produced and created by Gen Z Media. With over 200 twisty, cliffhanger-filled episodes, 6 Minutes tells the story of 11-year-old Holiday who is pulled from the icy waters with no memory of who she is or where she came from.
3 years ago, Brinley Pasternak helped the Anders family uncover the truth about Holiday's past. Now she'll need them to help her find the truth about hers. In 6 Minutes Out of Time, the long-awaited sequel, Cyrus Anders is found unconscious near the mysterious Elixir Academy in Florida, and Brinley learns the school may have a shocking connection to her missing mother.
Dive in now and get the most downloaded family audio adventure in history. Follow 6 Minutes wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen early and ad-free with the GZM family subscription.